YouTube, what's going on, guys? My name is Mike and I'm back with another video. So today I have a pretty cool video for you guys. Right now I'm standing in my greenhouse. It's about early March right now. And what happened was we had a problem in the greenhouse. During the winter we had a lot of heavy snow in the Northeast. And as the snow melted, it turned to ice at the nighttime, and then it melted during the day, turned to ice at night. And that cycle kind of made the snow on top of the greenhouse very heavy. And what happened was a good gust of wind came and it broke a couple pieces of the greenhouse, the ceiling, the roof of the greenhouse. So as you can see here, we're missing two panels here that broke, a panel here broke, and then an entire section, three panels here broke. And believe it or not, as the ice was falling, it broke a panel down here on the bottom too. So it was pretty aggressive. So what happened is we have a little bit of a mess to clean up, number one. And number two, we have to get new glass in and get this thing ready to go for the growing season. Now, I want to plant my cabbage and my radishes and all my early season stuff sooner rather than later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all this up, and then at a later date, I'll get the glass and I'll fix the glass, maybe later this week. But I do want to get those early vegetables in the ground or in their little starter pack ASAP. So without further ado, let's get into this. So I just want to emphasize, we got an extreme amount of snow this year. We had one snowstorm that was 12 to 18 inches, another one a couple weeks later that was 6 to 8, and then a dusting of like 1 to 2 inches almost a day later. So we did get a lot of snow, even considering that we're in the Northeast, New Jersey. So what's to stop this from happening again? Well, I'm planning on putting in just a propane heater next winter if we get snow, just to keep the interior of the greenhouse warm so that snow doesn't accumulate on the roof. And that should stop any kind of breaking of glass happening again. So let's go ahead and get sweeping up. One thing I noticed about gardening and working on your own property is that there's always something going wrong. So there's two ways to look at things. You could look at them as a good positive way, that there's something to learn from it, or you can look at it in a negative light and you could blame everything around you and basically not learn or grow from anything bad that happens. So obviously I'm not happy to see broken glass in my greenhouse and a very cold winter, snowy winter that caused this to happen, but I look at it as a good opportunity for me to put some new panels, some new glass, some fresh, strong glass, so that something like this doesn't happen when my greenhouse is full of vegetable starts and potentially getting glass into my soil that I'd have to plant out into my garden. So although this is an unfortunate situation, I'm happy that it happened while the greenhouse was empty over winter and that there was no serious damage caused or long-term damage caused. So, two ways to look at everything. Just some food for thought. Okay, so instead of another bucket, I actually found, this is just an empty old chicken feed bag. So whenever you're dealing with glass, before you go and you put it into a contractor bag like this, you want to give it like a double containment. Now, in the past I've used cardboard boxes or things like that, but it's really just courtesy for the garbage man or the person who's going to be dealing with the bag next. You don't want a shard of glass to come out and cut somebody. So the more safety, the better. And also it saves your back in case the bag rips open when you're moving it because of the sharp glass, causing another mess for you to clean up. So just thinking ahead, it's better to do a double containment with the glass. So I will dump this in and get right back to you. Okay, so we got all that transferred into the chicken burlap bag there. So that'll be safe to put into the black garbage bag when we're all done. But it's just easier to dump this stuff into the bucket. I don't mind doing it a double transfer, so let's keep on cleaning up. Okay, well, that's the bulk of it. This is there's a couple shards here and there that I'll come and I'll pick them up, you know, very carefully with my hands and dispose of them as we move on. But it looks good for now. I mean, we cleaned it up and I can finally walk in here again. So let's go ahead and let's clean the rest of the greenhouse up and get it ready for this spring starts. So let's do it. Okay guys, so we made some really great progress today. I guess all we really have to do now is wait for the glass to show up before we can repair these last couple pieces that have broken, and then we can get this greenhouse in full operation for the spring. So now it's just a waiting game. If only there was just a way you can make things like this speed up a little bit. But you know, I guess the only thing you can do is just wait. Unless there was some kind of magic way we could... What the heck? Look at that. And just like that, we got glass. It looks like we got a brand new couple pieces of the smaller section. These were going to be 18 by 24, which is great for the smaller pieces. And then we have a couple of the bigger pieces, it looks like, as well. These are going to be 24 by 24, so these are square. Perfect. Wow, look at that. Barely had to wait for anything, so you can't beat that. So now we just have to figure out how to get you guys all set up to observe me repair these pieces. It'll be a little bit challenging because the way this greenhouse is designed is you start from one side and you work your way over. Unfortunately, we have two panels that are broken right in the middle, so we're gonna have to figure out how to finagle it on the outside to get it in. But we'll figure it out. All right, guys, so I got you all set up. We're on the outside of the greenhouse now on this one bottom panel that had broken. So we're gonna start with this one just so I can show you guys, give you guys a demonstration of exactly what I'm gonna be doing here. It'll be easier for me to manipulate the camera before I go up on top of the greenhouse roof and try to fuss and finagle with those pieces. But let me just give you a brief explanation on how the construction of these glass panels goes. Each wall segment, so you know, this part here has 3 pieces of glass that goes to it. You're ideally supposed to start from the bottom and then work your way up because for 2 reasons. One, each section has a little tab. I'm not sure if you can see it from here, but it has a tab that holds the piece above it in place so that then you can clip the side snap-ons together. And when I say side snap-ons, I mean one of these little clips. So these are just tension clips. And what they do is you wedge this into the glass and then this snaps into the aluminum frame itself. And that holds the glass up and against the wall. Each piece gets 4 of these. So, like I said, ideally you start from the bottom and then you have a place to rest the second piece and then the third, and you can snap all these in. Unfortunately, our bottom piece broke, not the top 2, and I really don't want to have to take the top 2 down. So what I did was I pulled the bottom two brackets of this middle piece out, and what I'm gonna try to do is just slide the bottom piece under and then snap it into place. We'll see if that works. So here's our glass. Now obviously this is pretty breakable. So what we want to do is be very careful. And if you are going to be working with glass, I do recommend you always have gloves. I can't tell you how many times I've broken or cut myself playing with glass. And it's never fun. So what we're going to try to do here is we're going to put this piece here. That's that center bracket piece I was referring to. All right, so in this case, it looks like it's gonna work out for us. So we got it all in place. We can now bend this piece up. Like I said, it's just aluminum, and we only really need it as a brace, so it doesn't have to be snug or tight. And now these clip in, as I demonstrated before, they clip right into the glass. So you start on the aluminum side, and then you just gently push and it'll snap right in. If I show you this up close, let me see if you guys can see this. So if you see this right degree, this sharp angle here, this is the part that goes to the glass. And this kind of S shape or softer zigzag, this is the part that goes into the aluminum. So you push the S side into the aluminum first, and then you gently push on the back end, and this right degree will slide against the glass and snap into the edge when it finds it. So it's pretty easy to do. I move you guys in for a close-up. I'm gonna try to do this with one hand and hold the camera in the other. So I do apologize for any shakiness or if it's not very clear. So, like I said, you start with this part in the aluminum, the S side in the aluminum, and then you just gently push and it'll snap right into the glass there. And now that's on there pretty good. And we just have one more to do, and that's on this section right below the part we just replaced. So you get the S shape in the aluminum first, and then you gently push and it snaps right into the glass there. Now this piece is done, this is replaced, so I'm happy with that. Now, sorry for the shakiness. But now what we have to do is, that was the easy one. We have to do this section here, up top, and then we have to do these two pieces here, just 1, 2. The top one is thankfully the top one. And then we also have this one that's broken, but this one should be easy enough considering it's right on the the ground level, or the lowest tier of the 3 on the roof. So stay tuned, guys. I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna do the best I can to show you how not to break glass. All right. Okay, guys, so that's where you're gonna have to stay. I'm gonna climb up on this ladder behind me, pull it into place, and I'm gonna start from the bottom. Like I said, you start from the bottom, the bigger piece, and then you work your way up, so it gives you something to rest the next piece on. Let's get started. Now we're just going to slide the next one underneath and down. So the hard part's done. That top panel, that first top panel right up there, that was the hardest one to do.
We're not gonna have to do that over here because fortunately the ice and the snow didn't break that top panel right there. So all we have to do is replace the second and the first one, which is pretty easy compared to that top one. That means we don't have to take off this top piece right up here at the end, like we did on this side, in order to get that other top one in. So it's smooth sailing from here, guys. So unfortunately, looks like the battery's gonna die. We're gonna need a new battery, guys. Okay guys, we got a new battery, so let's go ahead and let's show you before we lose daylight, me going on the inside and trying to wrangle this thing. So let's do it. Oh, it looks like we might have time to get some soil ready and maybe plant some seeds. Sun is just about going down, so let's try to get to it. It's always a great time of year to do gardening. I love the spring. It's one of my favorites. Alright, so here we are, we're at the back of the property. This is where I keep my mulch piles and my soil piles. It's just kind of a holding ground for me in the gardening stuff. What I have is I brought a couple of these trays. These are just some reusables that I get from, you know, when I buy plants and things from garden centers. I just always save these, so they're a little beat up, but they're perfect for what we need to do. Just start our young plants and get them into transplant. So I'm just straightening out some of these. Looks like some of them got damaged over the winter while they're sitting in the shed. Like I said, it's no big deal. So I'm all set up in the wheelbarrow. So the plan here is to fill up this milk crate that I made, and I have a screen in the bottom of this milk crate. So what I do is this is some garden soil that I made, and it's been sitting in the back of my property for, I would say, about 2 years now. So it's got some rocks, some roots, some weeds growing in it. It's not in the premier condition that it could be, but it's perfect for what we need it for, especially when I mix it with some compost. To get some starts out. The plants love it. I mean, the plants seem to grow just as good as anything else. So this soil here is going to do just what we need it, but it's important that we sift it, because we don't want the roots of weeds and all the junk that comes with it. So what I do is I just take this screen here, this mesh, and I lay it in the bottom of this milk crate, just like so. Fits nice and tight. And then what I do is I'll leave it somewhat like that. I'll come and I'll scoop up some good soil. Now look at the quality of the soil, guys. Like I said, it looks like a weedy mess right now, but once you dig into it, we have some beautiful rich soil. I made this 1 part compost, 1 part stone, and 1 part peat moss a couple years back. So all the compost has completely degraded and finished. The peat moss is giving it a nice light and airy feel, and the stone gives it aeration. Now some of the stone is just a little bit too big for these small trays and for small seed starts, so that's mainly what we're sifting out, on top of the roots and straw and weeds and things like that. We're all going to sift that out, but we're going to keep that beautiful compost and that beautiful peat moss for our seed starts. So I'll show you how I do that. They just shake it up. What you get left over is, like I said, root mass, rocks and stones, the different types of clumps, things you don't necessarily want in your starter trays. Probably do a couple more of those. And I'll show you what we end up with. You can see the reason why I love to lay the trays in the bottom of the wheelbarrow before I do this process. It just fills them right up for you. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I believe the saying goes, work smart and not hard. I think that can apply to this method here. Man, now isn't that just a satisfying look? Look at that. Ready to go. Beautiful. And we have a couple of these trays to fill, so we won't delay any longer. Not hurt. All right, so here we are back at the greenhouse. Let's load some of these trays right in.
Okay guys, great. So we got all of our soil planted in our seed starters here. We have, I actually went and I wrote out some of these little cards here just so I can label which is what, and I want to plant some stuff in, some of my early spring vegetables. So what I have, and you know what, I'll show you guys the actual packets themselves, is really quick before we lose the daylight here. I'm going to be planting today beets. So we're going to do beets, we're going to do kale, we're going to get some lettuce growing, we have some broccoli. We're gonna get turnips in. And then of course, one of my favorites is cabbage. Just radishes. I enjoy radishes. I think they pickle really well. We've never pickled them before. So we're gonna try to do pickled radishes and obviously pickled beets as well. So yeah, I know I kind of rushed through that, but we are losing daylight. So I do want to kind of get some of these seeds into the starters here. So let me show you how I do that. All right guys, so I just moved you over to the side there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be very careful with my labeling. I mislabeled some stuff one year and it wasn't the best, but it was fun. I mean, you know what you plant. It's a surprise when it starts to come. So we'll try to keep things organized as possible, and we'll have all the labels ready. Now I usually do what do they call them? Like popsicle sticks. But I didn't have any popsicle sticks yet. I'm gonna order some on Amazon, and I'll put a link down below to my favorite popsicle sticks for labeling and sticking in soil. But this is some construction paper. Now this is gonna get wet and soggy and crappy and eventually degrade. But for the short term, it'll hold the tag up, and I'll be able to know what's what before I get my popsicle sticks in. So yeah, I don't recommend construction paper, but in a pinch, it'll do. And it's nothing chemically harming, so that's a good thing. So let's start off with our kale. So I'm thinking if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7. I think that should do it. I want to have a lot of cabbage. I want to have a lot of broccoli, a lot of lettuces, a lot of kales. You know what? I think I could swap the turnips out for the radishes. And I think we'll just do a couple, because I'm going to direct seed those into the beds. I want to have some radishes. So yeah, this looks good. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so what I'll do is I'll first
kind of stick, oops, that's a turn. I'll stick the kale right into there, just like that, so we know what's going on. And how I do this, guys, is it's really, really simple. What I do is I just take a stick with a fine pointed edge to it, and if you can see this, it just has a nice little point, just some random stick I got out of the yard, but it has a bit of a point. And then I just go ahead and I open up the soil here. I create a little bit of a divot. And this soil is a little bit dry right now, but it's going to do just fine. And I take a couple of these and I drop a couple into the hole. Probably between 2 and 3 I'll put into each hole. This way I can, if any don't germinate, hopefully some will germinate in each cube, and then I'll come back and I'll thin. What thinning is where you just have multiple seedlings started in the same hole, if you will, the same plug, and then you come back another time and you pull the small weak ones out and you keep the strongest. And that's what thinning is. This way you're guaranteed to have at least one good hardy plant start in each little cell here. So I did a couple, good amount. And that's how I do it. And I have plenty of seeds still in the bottom of here. It's probably about, probably like 30 or 40 seeds in the bottom of that. They're very tiny. So that what I do is I'll kind of push them in, make sure that they're all covered up with soil, and then I'll come and I'll water them. But I'm not going to water just yet. I'm going to wait until we are all done with everything, and then I'll come back and I'll water. So we have kales in. I think we're just going to do it, guys. The sun is just starting to set behind me here, so this is going to be pretty good. And now for the fun part, guys, let's water these in. Move everything out of the way. Alright. I got some water here. My little trusty watering can. Let that soak down. And to run off there a little bit. You guys see, just spills right onto the floor. I don't use the trays underneath. This is the greenhouse. It's meant to be wet, meant to get wet. So perfectly fine with that just draining right off to the floor. I don't have a drain in here either. The stones that we did, it'll just find its way through and out. Soak these down one more time. Make sure that it's all nice and soaked through. I always say the first water is like a pre-soak, and the second one really gets the soil moist. Alright guys, so that's really the end of the video. I really appreciate you guys coming along for this whole journey between cleaning up the glass and running up and down the ladder 100 times, fixing the glass in the greenhouse, getting the soil all prepared, and then also getting just at the end of the day, planting in some seeds. So today was a really productive day for me, and I'm excited to move into this growing season. We're just at the start here. Like I said, it's still March. But come April, we're going to have some starts here. The weather's going to get warmer. We're going to start prepping the outdoor bed. We might even build a new raised bed for you guys. So just keep on sticking along with me. Like if you haven't, subscribe if you want to see some more content, and hit the bell notification if you want notifications when I upload new videos. Like I said, I'm a new channel. I'm going to need help growing. You guys can certainly help me do that. Just even by leaving a comment, sharing to your friends, helping spread around the videos.
As I get better at making videos, hopefully you guys can show your friends and we'll all grow together and learn about gardening, homesteading, and having great adventures along the way. So, alrighty guys, that's it. Have a nice day. I'm tuning out. Take care.